We stay swishing, 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 swishing. Rise up, stay swishing, 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 swishing. Willing every jumper with a flick of wrist. Never a doubt, a fear of miss. Anyone sleeping on my shots get fits. Cause every shot through nets, through rips. Cards, hearts, darts, rewards, smarts, sharks.
Welcome on in. Secondary mock draft. This is the real one, not the fake one.
There was no fake one. Everyone does multiple mocks.
This is the official Diamond release mock draft of
Part 2.
Official.
Part 2 official one.
So before that...
The reason why we want to do this again is obviously there's a lot of trades that went down already. So we're going to get into that stuff. And also because there's news that came out since then and mindsets are adjusted. So we have to do a second one. And today is the day of the draft, so we know a little bit more as well. More studying was done on top of that, but let's get into some of these trades that have went down.
So, June 22nd, which was...
A couple days ago.
Yeah, Monday or something. KD gets traded to the Rockets. Everyone kind of predicted this a while ago, but other teams got in the mix. Ultimately, he goes to the Rockets for Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, first-round pick number 10 this year, and quite a few second-round picks, including a 59 this year. Pretty big haul for someone that has minimal years left in the NBA, I would say. But he's still very efficient and could score on anyone, a.k.a. one of the buckets.
Yeah, he is a go-to-the-bucket on the list from episode 37, which, by the way, we are counting this as episode 38 now. 38.
38. Players number 38. I wish this was the 35 so we could do Kevin Durant.
Players number 38.
I have no idea.
It was,
No answers.
No clue. Besides the player's number 38, Kevin Durant is getting up to that age, so he's going to start.
I think he is 38.
He's 37 going on 38 possibly.
I want to say
he's going
38.
to have some health concerns, being that he's been nicked up throughout his career a little bit. It's not like he's had perfect health like LeBron. So I don't think his same level of production is going to hold true for the Rockets. And I don't think it's fair for Kevin Durant himself to put that on himself. Though the Rockets do have other players that will have to contribute. I don't think to give up this much for Kevin Durant at this stage in his career was wise.
All right, so the next day, the Celtics end up trading one of their big contracts, Drew Holiday, for Anthony Simons and 2 second-round picks. I don't really understand this trade for the Trailblazers. I mean, they're not necessarily trying to win right now, unless they're trying to flip him eventually, but I don't see a lot of suitors that actually would need a Drew Holiday. Maybe the Suns if they're trying to contend, but that's where I thought he was going to go, but I guess not.
I don't think it's the Suns is the answer, but I do think it's kind of weird that Drew Holiday went back to the team that he didn't want to be on.
Oh yeah, he was there.
The exact thing that brought him to the Celtics in the first place when people were trying to bid for him was that Blazers had received him from, was it the Pelicans in the Dame trade?
He came from the Bucks.
The Bucks, sorry. Brain fart, but Anthony Simons on the Celtics is interesting. He gives them, since Tatum's going to be out for most of the year, if not all of it next year, he gives them an option to go with Jaylen Brown, assuming that he's kept there, to hoist up those threes, to handle the ball, and kind of, keep the Celtics in at least an opportunity to make the playoffs.
How do they get the better player and picks? That's what I don't understand. It doesn't make sense.
I feel like the Blazers kind of gave up on Simons.
I mean, you still could get stuff for him. I mean, the Magic wanted him at one point. Sure, there's other teams that want shot creators, but moving on, I'm giving that win to the Celtics.
Holiday brings a lot on the defensive end. I mean, you can't, and his leadership, you can't really discount that stuff.
Yeah, but they don't have the pieces to win. Anyway.
They might be trying to make a push this year. I mean, this would be the time.
So the following day, the Wizards trade Poole
All right, we'll get into it with the other one.
The Wizards trade Poole to the, I almost said Hornets again. The Pelicans for C.J. McCollum. Pretty even swap, I would say, here. Trading shot creator for shot creator, I guess.
What I don't really get with this trade is, what are the Pelicans even doing with this? They're in the same spot they were with the trade before.
I think it gives them some players that are actually somewhat healthy and not injury concerns.
Bay was out.
I know, but their main piece is Poole, and he tends to play a lot of games, even though he's not the perfect player, but he suits up and he wants to play. Keeps in pretty decent shape.
I don't really see how that helps Zion at all.
The only person who could help Zion is Zion.
Yeah, I just don't get it, because that's not who the Pelicans needed. They don't need more guards and wings.
I think if I'm them, I'm thinking that they need that kind of clutch scorer. I don't know if Poole's labeled clutch, but he can be clutch and make some difficult shots.
Mind you, DeJounte Murray is still a Pelican.
I know, but he's not that kind of guy. He's a facilitator, initiator. Poole is that guy that's going to give you that last second shot. Or
will he? I'd say he's more feast or famine.
I'd rather draw up a play for Poole or Trey Murphy than anyone else. I'll say that much.
I just don't see that as a winning team. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't really get it.
They're not a winning team, but they're trying to.
Yeah, I just don't get that. I mean, for the Wizards, it makes a lot of sense. They get some more veterans because that's what I told you they needed on the last mock. It really makes sense. But on the Pelican side, I don't really get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Wizards also wanted to free up some shots for some prospects they want, i.e. Ace Bailey, i.e.
Potentially.
Trey Johnson.
I don't think Trey's slipping a 6.
It's very possible. But
no, he's going.
You'll see in the mock who we end up taking for the Wizards. Interesting there.
This was kind of like an even trade, though, in my opinion. But the Wizards, it made more sense to do it.
So the last one we have here is a 3-teamer with one player in each team being traded.
With a pick, some of them seconds.
So the Celtics get George Niang in a second. I guess this is just like an offload trade of Porzingis' contract, who
yes,
has some kind of injury that's not fully understood by the league. It's something with his lungs or something, like he can't breathe.
Yeah, he had some issues in the playoffs very visibly.
And there was a lot of doubt that there was no injury, he just didn't want to play for some reason, which is a hot take or like a conspiracy theory.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I have some hardcore facts to go with this. And then the Nets get Terrence Mann, who obviously did not live up to the hype. The Clippers gave it to the Hawks.
The Nets get another pick in this draft?
They now have 5 first-rounders, so you know something's happening.
Huh.
Are they positioning themselves to trade for a guy like Beal?
No, you don't need that much assets to get Beal. The Suns would probably move him.
Yeah, I mean, if they trade 2 or 3 firsts, they have 5 of them.
I'm thinking they try to move up into the top 4.
Third.
Yeah.
Is that where your thoughts about Bailey? But I don't really think they have to trade. I mean,
They want to get Bailey, and he threw the first pitch for the Mets wearing a Mets uniform.
all right, not too much.
But they are also Harper threw the first pitch for the Yankees, but obviously he's going to Spurs, as you will see in the mock.
You realize they do that with some of the guys.
I know, but,
because
like,
the
it's
draft
just
is
funny.
in Brooklyn, New York.
It's just funny that
It's not in Cleveland. It's not in Chicago. It's not in LA. They're going to be pitching for the Yankees and Mets, not those teams. But yeah, so I actually called this last year after a lot of analyses I've watched from cap experts. I saw the point that the Celtics were going to have to dish off some players to make sure they're under cap hell, meaning the second apron, because that really restricts you from doing a lot of things and improving your roster. And the fact that they lost in the second round just expedited this, and they needed to move on from a couple guys to free up some cap, get some different youth in there, different wings, Niang and Simons.
yeah, I mean,
With Tatum out, you have to do something to get
you
scoring.
almost have to say that this is an L for the Celtics, but it's something they had to do. But for the Hawks, if Porzingis is his mind is there with Atlanta and he wants to play there, I think that could be a pretty big win for them. Brooklyn gets another pick. And,
I mean, I'd take KP over Terrence Mann any day.
And Niang came from Atlanta too.
Yeah.
So I would say it could be a win for all teams, but Celtics obviously lost a really good player.
Wait a minute. Did the Nets really finesse this trade?
They didn't give anything up. So
I mean, the second round picks are probably them, but they got a freaking 2025 first round pick.
yeah, I don't.
Is this right?
So let's see the details.
What the heck?
I don't understand.
What is this even?
So is the net? I'm thinking the Nets took some salary. In the Porzingis contract.
That doesn't make sense. It's not how it works.
What did the Nets actually give up though? I don't. No one's really talking about it either.
I didn't really think about it until now, but what the heck just happened?
I guess Terrence Mann's contract isn't the greatest. If I'm,
Yeah, but this doesn't make sense.
I think it's just
This is
that-
a first round pick. We're not talking about just some random pick. They already had 4 of them. What is happening?
I don't understand.
So this is now just the Brooklyn Nets draft, which happens to be held in Brooklyn.
So is this another Adam Silver trade?
Yeah, sure. To help the Brooklyn Nets become relevant because they can't do it on their own.
All right. Final thoughts. There will be more trades to come.
I'm sure there's more coming.
This is a
Especially
pretty good
tonight.
start to the trade fiascos. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, so ultimately we got some starter moves, but the real action starts tonight.
Which we will get right into.
All right, so let's go to our mock draft.
You-
All right, so here we are. The Mavericks are on the clock, just like they are in real life. Everyone knows what's going to happen. Do we need to overanalyze this as the guy who clearly showed on both ends of the floor this year in college? He was the most dominant player. He led Duke to a nice little run in the tournament. He had flashes of greatness,
Has the size, has the ability.
speed.
The only thing I want to see from him in the NBA is more clutch factor.
Yeah, that could be built up, but here we go. With the first pick of the 2025 NBA draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Cooper Flag, small forward.
Cooper DeJean.
Not too much. All right.
All right, so
Next, we got the Spurs, who
to preface this, apparently the Spurs fell in love with Harper before they even won the lottery. So this is kind of like a 100% going to happen pick.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and I don't think this is the pick that they trade because you cannot pass up on Dylan Harper in this draft. There are 2 players, and then there's the rest of this draft, so I gotta say you take Dylan Harper here as a combo guard with height. He's got the ability with court vision. He can score. Not the greatest form I've ever seen, but he's consistent enough at shooting jumpers. And again, that could be improved throughout. A shot is something you can fix. Effort and vision is something that doesn't really fix. So,
Yeah.
Dylan Harper.
Number 3 pick. This is where the draft starts.
This is where there's a lot of contention on who's actually going here. There's so much options because a long time it was thought to be Ace Bailey. But
So as a Sixers fan, I went back and forth here with where we should pick or if we should keep it or not. I think that knowing how Morey is and how the team is built, although he doesn't tend to draft wings, he likes point guards and centers in drafts. I think this is the draft. He finally selects a wing. And I don't know if you want to click this, but I definitely want to click Ace Bailey here.
now, you cannot say it's only based on what this guy wants to do or what that guy wants to do, what position someone is. The ultimate thing is, whenever someone shows clear issues with attitude, smart GMs and owners are not going to draft that guy.
Daryl Morey is not smart.
No, but he also has owners that have him on the chopping block if he makes a mistake.
Yeah,
This
I mean,
is not
this
year
is
one anymore.
This is a move that could possibly get him fired, but I think it's a move that he tends to do because he is very set in his ways is the right phrase I want to use. I think that a lot of teams want Ace Bailey even though they haven't come to the forefront. I think his skill is very high upsidey.
How much Rutgers games did you actually watch before you start spilling all this out?
Quite a few. And it's not about the games.
It's
It's about the talent.
The talent isn't enough to offset the attitude.
It is. The
That's
talent
why he was
and
at third to
upside.
begin with. He dropped consistently all year. He was never going to be
I think that the Sixers either take him or trade the pick for someone to take Ace Bailey at 30.
No. I don't think there's enough generated want for this guy for people to trade up that much.
I'm taking Ace Bailey. Who are you taking?
I got to go VJ Edgecombe because I think there are real teams that have real desire to take this guy. I think the Sixers are one of them. And I do think if they don't take him, someone will trade them to take him.
We are conflicted.
Because you have a personal bias to Ace Bailey and I'm seeing through the bullshit.
It's not bias. It's
Yeah, you're trying to
what do I
save your
think my
face.
GM will do?
That has nothing to do with it.
What
What
do I
do
think
you think?
my
What-
team would want?
That's
And
not how you do a mock. It's not personal bias. What my team, what this. That is
It's
how you
not
make
personal.
mistakes. That's how you just said what my team, what I think my team will do.
Yeah, because
I.
knowing that
What about the consensus around the world right now is?
you don't. It's your draft. You don't care about consensus at this point.
Because they have insight. You don't have insight.
All right, take VJ. I'm still
VJ
thinking.
Edgecombe
I'm still
will go
thinking
third.
Ace here.
I mean, we're going to see who's wrong, but I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I know this is the right pick for right now.
Charlotte Hornets.
All right, so I definitely don't think Bailey's going there.
This could be an interesting pick because you could go with so many players here.
That's 1 of 2 here for me.
I have 3 names, for maybe 4 names. I'm thinking either Ace,
No.
Trey Johnson, Con Knipple, or Malawak.
Now, the interesting thing here is I don't think it's Malawak going this high, for one. Take that off. I do think Con Knipple and Trey Johnson are the guys the Hornets like the most. Now, I originally thought Trey Johnson on the first one, but I'm starting to think with the Duke connection and the fact that it's Charlotte, Con Knipple has a real flashiness to go forth. He did show some questionable shot making decisions, especially throughout the regular season. He tends to put up a lot of shots when he really had like the best player on his team next to him. There's some questions there, but he does have that sniper capability. He could handle the ball. He's got good size for a wing.
I think it is the safest pick, but
I
mean,
also
they did
like
get
Trey Johnson's explosiveness.
they did get a project last year in Tijon Sloan, so maybe they don't really want a project. They just want someone who could be consistent and slowly grow as a player. So I'm perfectly fine with Con Knipple or Trey Johnson at this pick.
I'm conflicted with them. That's my point. I need something to push it over the edge. Like, just
Do you
thinking
want an
about-
all-around player, or do you want someone who could just give you buckets with LaMelo and what's his name? The small Brandon Miller.
I mean, both are shooters, though.
I know, but Khan can handle the ball and initiate the offense a little bit better than Johnson.
Do they really need that, though?
LaMelo gets hurt quite often, so maybe.
I mean, you're not drafting Knipple to be your point guard in any case.
No, but he can. He can.
Not too much. Oh, I'm so conflicted here. Like,
We're taking Khan.
all right, go Con. Let's be different this one. I do think that's a safe pick. The
All right.
problem is I don't know if they're going to trade it, so...
Utah.
All right, so this is where we had Ace Bailey last time, but with Trey Johnson still on the board, the fact that they're probably going to lose Clarkson in a trade of some sort.
I'm between Trey Johnson and Malawak here. I think that they need either size or bucket.
I don't think they need size.
I mean, they do have some size.
I don't think they need size. I don't think they need size.
This is a player that's going to be there long past some of these players, so I'm not worried about really who they have. I'm worried
Yeah.
about potential and...
To me, it's Bailey or Johnson. I don't see Malawak going here.
All right, let's be different. Trey Johnson.
Trey Johnson will go here, all right. I do think that's a safe pick again. He does have that scoring that they might need. All right, so this is where it makes sense to take Ace Bailey. There's no debate here.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the teams he wants to go to, apparently, according to his agent.
And there's a lot of good vets now. I mean, this is the safest place for him.
Take out Jordan Poole and...
Obviously, that's no longer there.
what's his name? But you got some top
Middleton.
end players like McCollum and
What am I looking at?
Caphold. I don't know.
That was weird. This thing has a guy who's been retired for years.
So they also have Alex Sarr. They have
Koulibaly.
Koulibaly, Bob Carrington.
Bay's gone.
They have interesting player AJ Johnson who could make a jump next year, in my opinion.
They have. My point was they have some good vets to reel this guy
Yeah,
in.
let's get him in there. Ace Bailey, you are needed with your abilities, and you better prove yourself at this point.
That's also where he has the easiest chance for stardom.
Yeah.
They don't really have like a go-to guy, so
All right, so here this is between two players, I would say.
centers.
Yeah, you got to go with center here. You need a high level upside type guy. I mean, both of them have that. It's up to how they did in workouts, how they did in interviews to see who the best player for this pick is.
For the Pelicans, I don't think they really need a guy who shoots a lot. And to be honest, Derek Queen doesn't really project as a full-time center in my mind. He does have the 4-5 capability, but I see him more as a power forward, starting forward. I don't really see him starting center long-term. He has some questionable defense. I really do think you say the safe pick here is Malawak.
Yeah, I mean, he does have more size, definitely more upside, because
Better defender.
Malawak, if I remember right, just started playing basketball at 16 or 15 or something like that. He hasn't been playing long, and he's still learning. Maybe you have seen in his workouts on YouTube or something, he actually is not a bad three-point shooter, although he didn't get to show it in college too much. I think that's the part of the game that could elevate him and be the perfect fit for the Pelicans, in my opinion.
My opinion is they should really just need a shot blocker. I mean, at the end of the day, Malawak is that. Derek Queen is not.
I mean, Derek Queen could block shots, but
That's not what he's known for. He's like a solid hub of it as a like 4-5 mix kind of guy. He's not your prototypical center even in today's NBA. He's going to want the ball a lot. I mean, the ball's not really going to have an option for him, really.
he reminds me of the one Sixers center they drafted in the process era. What's his name?
Okafor?
Yeah, Okafor. I think that's the kind of player he is. And
Yeah, I mean, with that being said, it really makes more sense to take Malawak, where the consensus around the league is that he's the better center. And that he's the pure center to begin with.
All right, let's take him. So
Can't take any risks for the Pelicans. All right, so we come to the Nets. Now, this is very interesting because
I know who I want. Actually, I know two people I want.
Do we
here.
even know if this pick will stay with the Nets, knowing that they have 5 picks?
The only way they trade this pick is if they move up to 3 or higher, or like move up in general, because I think they want to keep this pick unless they get that more valuable player.
To me, like we said the first time, I think it's between 2 guards here.
Yeah, I mean, there's rumors that D'Lo is going to be a Maverick at some point this year. So I'm kind of drafting based on that he's gone.
Even if he was staying, I don't think Russell is like the ultimate starter for a team, so.
No. I mean, I've said in past videos that he's a fan favorite. I mean, the fans like D'Lo. He likes to be there. So, and at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter. It matters about what the owner wants to do. And I think they're gonna go with
I say Fears.
Fears here.
Yeah, good,
More
good take.
upside player. I mean, he is smaller, but he is more polished and can grow.
I do think he's what the Nets actually need, and obviously there's a grouping here of players of similar talents. As far as like the Nets going Yaka Kunis, I don't really see it, so I say Fears. All right,
The
we
Raptors.
come to the Raptors.
This is the perfect. Actually, no. You could go so many ways here. Actually, I really want them to take Asparis, but they could also get Queen. So I'm stuck between. Also, my Sixers biases wants
I
wants
don't
the
think they
Sixers to take Kasparis just because I like how he plays in that modern big point guard style that I guess Halliburton is. He could grow into that kind of player.
I mean, looking up and down the Raptors roster, the fact that Carter Bryant's on the board, but they have a lot of wings, I'm not really sure if they could pass him up or not.
I think.
Because I've heard whispers that Barrett's on the move, so...
I mean, yeah, but they already have so many wings. I think they go point guard or center here. That's just my opinion. I think those are the two players we're looking at right here.
I don't think Kasparis is, like, jumpy enough at this spot. It doesn't really seem like the right pick for the Raptors.
I think it's the pick, but you could.
I do think it's still Derek Queen.
All right, I'm going with Kasparis, but you could pick Queen.
He just makes sense for the Raptors, in my opinion. Like, just pairing him up with those guys they have. You already have, like, the ball handlers. You have the guys who are going to shoot outside.
I guess you're relying on Scotty Barnes to be that facilitator then.
I mean, that's what he does, and you already have Ingram at the wing. You have Grady Dick. I mean, you
Jacoby
kind of need
Walter.
some more post presence on that team.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what you got to look at.
I don't mind either or, but my pick is Jakachonis.
We'll see who's right. And what if they don't keep it? All right, so now we're on the Suns. We're looking up
Who
and
have a
down.
lot of guards, even with Jalen Green addition and what's the forward they got?
Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks, who also could be considered a shooting guard.
He's a wing. He's not a forward. I do think that this is the spot where they want a center, but you're looking up and down the draft now. At number 10, you can't really reach here, so you got to take best available.
I'm taking Kasparis.
Carter Bryant.
I'm taking Kasparis.
Carter Bryant.
No. Why do you see that?
I don't know if you've studied enough of these guys then. You can't pass on Carter Bryant as the Suns who just traded away a Kevin Durant. Carter Bryant is that ultimate fill-in right now. At this spot in the draft,
You can't replace KD.
not saying you replace him completely, but this is a guy that you can't really pass up on, and since you don't have Durant to block minutes anymore, you got to go with the best available. This is pick 10.
I mean, I think they could benefit from having a traditional point guard with Booker and Beal. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but I don't think Jakachunas is a starting point guard at this point.
He can grow into that.
You got to take the guy who's best available.
All right, pick him.
Again, I'm not saying I'm 100% correct, but just going around.
Wait,
looking
he's
around.
also from Arizona, or he played at Arizona.
Correct.
So that kind of makes sense, but
The consensus is they're targeting a center, but the first two centers are going to be gone at this point in our draft.
all right. So now we're at the Trailblazers, who just got Drew Holiday for Simons.
So no more Simons there.
They already have Scoot, so maybe they got Drew to help teach Scoot, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't think Simons was going to teach him how to be a true point when he's not one himself.
So that makes me roll out Jakachonis right off the bat, in my opinion.
Unfortunately,
So our last mock, we had Boyles going here.
honestly, I mean, I still think that's the right pick.
Huh. I
Unless-
kind of like... scroll down.
I don't think they should reach.
I think they go with Asa Newell.
That's too high up for him.
No, there's mocks that have him high.
When Colin is on the board still,
Yeah, I mean, they both could go here.
and Noah Essengay,
I want to be different.
You can't just say I want to be different when something makes sense.
A lot of things make sense.
I mean, there is even a chance like they could take Yakachunas because he's not a starter.
No, but he's not going to see the floor as much as you.
That's exact. He needs development. That's what you're not seeing here. Not every pick is meant to play right away. You take players based on potential and building up toward a point down the line. That's why they get 2 to 3 years off the bat. They don't get 1-year contracts. We cannot look at it as a perspective of a team taking, oh, I need a starter right now. Let me take this at 11. That's not how a draft works. You take on a numerous factors such as potential, such as team fit, such as who is the best available at this spot in the draft. Do I want to reach this far when I could get him later?
Okay,
When I could get him later. That's the point.
Can we agree on Igor Demon then?
That makes zero sense here.
They need
Again, you're going with they need a instead of who is the right pick at this time in the draft.
Igor
That
Demon.
is what a mock. That doesn't make sense.
Why are you stuck on Colin Murray Boyles?
Yeah, it's Yakachunas or Murray Boyles for me. Pick 11.
Alright, well, it doesn't make sense to get Yakachunas, so I'm going Boyles then.
All right, your choice.
Even though it's not a great pick.
Yeah, it actually makes the most sense for them. All right, we come to pick number 12 with the Bulls. And the fact they kind of need a little bit of everything, in my opinion. Sure, they do have Kobe White.
Josh Giddey.
Sure, they do have Josh Giddey. But at pick 12, you're not drafting a starter.
Lonzo Ball.
He's probably on his way out. Along with Vucevic, who's been numerous times, they've mentioned that. I don't think they could pass up on.
Asa Newell.
I don't think they could pass up on this
Asa
guy.
Newell.
Makes no sense.
Yes, I'm telling you.
I've heard a lot of talk from Chicago people that this is the guy they're targeting.
Is it because he's from Illinois?
That and they do need a hub off the bench because Lonzo Ball is going to be moved.
You're not drafting for bench. You're drafting
That's
for...
that at pick 12. You're not drafting a starter either.
You're drafting for upside.
Exactly.
Pick him then.
It makes the most sense
I mean,
to
he
me.
should have been picked earlier, so I guess we gotta take him at this point.
And if it's not the Bulls, someone will take him. All right, we come to the Hawks.
Who got Porzingis? Capella.
Yeah, nothing to do
Capella's
with
a
this
free
pick.
agent. Last mock we had.
Going defense.
Did we get Newell? No,
No.
Jace. We went Jace.
No, we didn't.
We did.
No, we didn't. We went defense.
We went Jace
and Gay.
and defense,
We went S and Gay at pick 13 last time.
which I still think is a good pick. Either that or Demon, because we're kind of letting him fall at this point.
I do think this site has him overranked. That's my point.
I like Essengay or Newell here.
Yeah, I still like Essengay because when you're looking at the Hawks roster, they're not really going to have a lot of minutes, so they could draft a project.
Yep.
Some guy who could come off the bench with energy. Although they also need bench scoring, I don't really see someone packing a punch on their bench.
Free agents.
But that's also what free agency is for. It's tough. I mean,
I don't think they draft a senior, I'll say that much.
I'm still between Demon and Essengay.
I say you stick with Essengay because it makes sense.
All right. Okay.
Back to the Spurs, who we
This
let-
pick, we don't know if they're gonna keep either.
I mean, so we just go with best available, or
I'm trying to think like
if they do keep it, I feel like one of the senior guys makes sense here, but they could also go with
I mean
Ace and Newell would make sense also.
looking at it at a lens. Pick 14, they already had pick 2. I honestly think this pick's getting moved.
So just pick based on talent.
You gotta go with Devin then.
Do you? What about Newell? I feel like he's sliding too far at this point.
I think you overrate Newell to begin with.
I just like his energy. He's a interesting prospect.
How much do you know about Devin?
Not a whole lot.
That's my
honestly.
point. All right, we're taking him. All right, so we come to a team that doesn't really need much.
I'm taking one of the seniors here. Step right in if need be.
It's a push. Who do you want?
Neek.
All right, fair enough.
Someone who could do everything on the court.
I don't know how much
pretty
minutes are
solid.
there for him, but
9.6 rebounds for a guard / small forward is pretty impressive, honestly.
to me, this is not fair that they get this guy if they do.
Shoots 50%, 19 points per game, and almost a double-double. That's just crazy. And he could pass.
Now, keep in mind, Colorado State is a mid-major. Some of those numbers are inflated because of inferior talent. I do think that he has some flashes and could be a solid rotational player.
Yeah. Memphis.
16. Okay,
So they just got Edie last year, which a lot of people were not projecting that high. So they could go for another reach type guy. They have
They
a
do
lot
have
of
a
guards.
new coach. Oh,
I think they need some kind of interior defense. So I'm thinking between 17, 18, and 19, those guys.
Fleming, Wolf, or Newell here. There's also Sorber, too, at this spot.
Yeah, they could go Sorber too. I just think they need a true rim protector. I don't think
Do you take another center after taking...
Edie is has the IQ to be a starting
They
level
also
center.
have Jaren Jackson Jr., who they're keeping.
I know, but he's a 4 if they're trying to win.
Is he, though?
Yeah, he's too small to be a center in my opinion. He can defend the rim, but he needs help with that. He's not supposed to be that guy.
I don't think Wolf's going here. Too much like Edie.
Any kind of size player I'm okay with. I just don't think they go with Coward here.
I don't... This
I
is a-
think Asa Newell makes sense just because he's a lob threat for Ja.
Yeah, but he's going to be stuck behind JJJ anyway.
I mean, you're at pick 16. What do you expect?
I think it's safe. All right, we'll go.
Timberwolves.
All right, so we don't really know with the Wolves outside of Anthony Edwards. I mean, Gobert's kind of contract-wise. not
Randall's
easy.
expiring, right? Or is it,
Yeah, you don't really know what this team's going to look.
does he have a 2-year or is he expiring?
I thought he was expire. Wait a minute.
Did he sign an extension? I don't remember. Why is Evan Turner on there?
This is what I was saying before. All right, so
Last year they got Dillingham around the spot. Or like, no, it was top 10 or something.
my point was you don't really know what the Wolves are really thinking.
They kind of need everything. honestly.
Pick 17. I mean, isn't Nas Reed a free agent? I thought he was.
He might be. I don't think that roster's up to date, honestly. Obviously, you could tell some traded guys and stuff like that.
All right.
Man, there's some interesting
he low?
players. I kind of like Rasheer Fleming here, or Coward.
Why does Fleming make sense?
He's a switchable type defender. Can play that defensive style that they're somewhat building. They do need a point guard, but I don't think they're going to get one here. That's actually good.
Doesn't make sense. I don't know if I see Coward going there, so I can't really see Wolf up this high. To me, it's Fleming or Sorber.
I think Fleming makes more sense.
Why not Sorber, though?
Because they already have Gobert and Nas Reed.
You could say the same for Fleming, then.
No, we could just slot in off the bench.
So can Sorber.
No, you have Nas Reed.
I don't think you understand they're basically similar players.
And Randall might be gone, so you never know. They could trade Randall or Gobert also, so...
So you want someone with more shooting? Is that why you want Fleming?
I just think... I don't know. I'm just locked in on Fleming with their current roster.
I don't know if he's... I'm not really agreeing with this rankings here. That's what I'm trying to get at. I don't think that he's a better player than Sorber.
Take Sorber then.
It's a flip of the coin. We're going Sorber.
Alright, we got the...
Again, we
Wizards
come to the
against-
Wizards. Will they keep this, though?
I already took Ace Bailey here at pick 6.
Don't think they're taking Coward.
I think you go with... They could go with anyone, really.
I don't think he's going there.
Fleming or Wolf.
I'm between these three. I think Wolf's too high still.
I kind of like McNeely here.
Yeah. All right, we'll go.
Younger player with all-around game. UConn.
Although they're both small forwards, Bailey and Nailey. McNeely.
Bailey and Nailey.
The combination of Bailey McNeely. All right, I like it just for that fact. All right, back to this pick. I do think this is getting moved, so we should say best available.
Yeah, Nets got their guy in Fears, who a lot of people say the Nets want Fears, and if Bailey's not there, that is. So I think we gotta go best available if they trade it.
Even if they keep it, they probably could take best available.
I kind of like Walter Clayton here. If someone trades
I don't.
Traore, could go like a little bit
No
higher.
one's trading up for those guys. I want to break that to you.
Keep going down. We might be missing someone.
I don't see anybody
Wait,
anyone
Go
trades
up a
up.
little bit. Joan Behringer.
Not here. I mean, you after all this talk about Fleming, you're not going to leave him on the board.
Behringer or Fleming, whoever.
Easy pick. Known quantity. All right.
He
20th.
I think this is a perfect pick for either Coward or Clayton, in my opinion. I feel like Clayton has that energy to be in Miami, though. They need a point guard.
You're only saying that 'cause
He is from yeah. He went to Florida, so it makes sense.
I mean, I can't really see the Heat taking him this early, though.
My pick is Walter Clayton here, honestly.
And why is that? It's because you know him better than Coward?
No, because they need that kind of shot creator.
Did you watch Cedric Coward? Answer the
Yes,
question.
a tiny bit. I know his game.
What is his game?
He is he could do like a little bit of everything. He could shot create, decent defender, senior. So there's kind of more experience there. I think Clayton gives you more.
They're literally the same types of players. That's my point.
I know, but
Except
you go
he
with
has
the
more.
winner. You go with the winner.
He has more upside too.
You go with someone who just won, has that winning mentality.
Now, if you're gonna tell me you don't want to take him because of the concerns about injuries and stuff, that's one thing. If you're gonna say Clayton is more of a winner, he only started to win in this season.
and
He
was
bounced
the main,
around
He was
teams.
the main piece in winning.
He bounced around teams, yeah, but it was a stacked team.
Well,
I don't think you could say Coward doesn't get picked.
take him.
Clayton might even go to the second round, in my opinion.
Take him.
I mean, the numbers alone tell you what you need to see here.
All right, the Jazz. They just took Trey Johnson at pick 5. They could. I don't even know where they go at this point. Maybe Traore.
I don't see him as a first rounder.
Huh.
No, if it is, it's going to be late, so it is late. 21. A lot of people think Wolf here.
Behringer. I forgot about him.
What is with your obsession with him?
He has a lot of upside, and I think that they need some international talent on this team.
That's not how you make draft picks.
That is how you do it. You gotta get some fresh aura in that team. You go with someone who looks like Wemby.
Yeah, I don't think that makes any sense. I do think Wolf is probably the pick here. Simple fact is they could have him behind their guys, and pick 21, you don't really expect a true starter at that. I don't think they're looking for more projects.
You should be.
The Jazz, when they already have George, they're trying to build up Hendricks, Cody Williams. They have some solid players already with
Sensible.
Kessler, Collier. They're still trying to work up.
Filipowski.
I don't think they could pass this guy up. All right, so
Possibly another pick getting traded along with pick 19.
I mean, to be honest with you, I think this is kind of where Jace kind of gets looked at. Teams looking to get him, if not the Nets.
I like Behringer here.
Is it because it's the Nets, or is it because it's pick 22?
I'm just picking best talent on the board.
So why isn't that Jace?
Because I don't believe in Jace's game, honestly. I don't think he's someone who's NBA ready. I think he has quite a few years to grow into who he is. Possibly.
Nah, that is a mistake to say that.
I think Jace is really a possible early second round type guy.
That is a terrible take. I'm sorry.
That's a hot take, but I don't think owners really are that into him yet.
What are you even talking about?
Actually, they could go with, well, I don't know if they're picking here, but I also like Will Riley as a shooter. Played with Kasparis, pretty good sniper. Teams.
I could tell you Behringer is not going to get someone moving up to take Behringer. I could tell you that.
I would want him.
I don't see the attraction. I don't think you've watched enough of these other guys. I think it's Jace or Riley. Pick
Riley.
one.
I don't like Jace's game.
You can't just say I don't like. It's about what teams are looking at.
I know, but it's your mock draft, not everyone else's.
But you're not making the selections.
We are here.
We're trying to get it right as a team would.
Yeah, we're getting it right. This is all
I don't think so.
100% accurate and studied on.
Okay. Alright, so I do think Jace goes here, if not last pick.
Where are we at?
23rd. A lot of people have him around this pick.
Yeah, I mean,
he's not going to drop much further.
You seem to be locked in on Jace, so I guess you got to take him at some point.
I don't think you watched enough college to begin with, so that's why I'm saying it. Especially during the tournament. Alright, Thunder, I mean, they could really take a project here.
I'm taking
if it's the Thunder.
Traore or Behringer here. Wait, what?
I didn't mean to do that.
Oh.
Alright, we come up with the Magic. Now this is where I thought Fleming was going to go, but I do think he moves up.
I think they get a shooter here. Some fashion possible. Maybe Hugo, maybe Clayton.
Clayton. Shooter, Clayton.
They need floor spacing. I think they get some kind of shooter. Kobe
I don't know
Bray.
if you get it at this pick.
Kobe Bray.
He ain't going here.
I'm telling you, you got to get a shooter here. They're keeping this pick.
If they're keeping it, they got shooting already.
Not enough.
To be honest, I'm between these two.
Take Clayton then, because I don't want Traore here.
Alright, good pick. Alright, so...
Another Brooklyn pick. This is pick 4 for them if they keep everything. Which
well,
obviously they probably
they didn't
won't.
update the 22nd one, did they? Oh, they did. Oh, they have 27 too?
Yep. 26, 27.
Yeah, so about that, I don't really know what to do here. You could take any of these names here.
I think we got to go best available and Nolan Traore.
Alright. Here we go again.
Another Nets pick.
I don't think he goes.
Scroll down. I don't know if we're missing anyone.
It's a name.
Keep going.
It's a name.
Keep going.
Bray's not going. These guys are not moving up.
Kind of like Hugo here. How old is he? Click his name.
He's 18.
18. Yeah, I like Hugo.
Again, possibly traded, so I don't really know what to do with that. Oh, they're probably keeping this pick after what they've done recently. They need some guys on low-budget contracts.
I kind of like a center here.
They traded Porzingis.
I would go one of the centers.
It's either him or him, in my opinion. It's not going to be Broom in the first. They're not taking these guys.
Stanford. Is Stanford a big college?
Yeah, I'd say so. A lot of people do think Maxime Reynard is a first-round pick. Kalkenbrunner's on the edge, too, though.
I'll let you pick this one. I'm just stuck between both.
They're the same height.
It will come down to what the Celtics believe has a higher upside.
You know what's crazy is they're both seniors. Can you really talk about a higher upside? They're really kind of similar. I don't know what to do here, really. I see a lot of people thinking him. I'm 50-50.
Take Maxime.
All right. That's what we had last time, too. Yeah, I think it's safe. All right, back to the Suns again.
They already took Carter Bryant, according to this draft.
Can I make an executive decision?
You think they go with center?
I think they missed out on the two guys they wanted, so they're going to settle here with a backup center.
I kind of like Johnny Broom here.
No, Janai Broom's not going that high.
Huh.
I don't think they take another wing. I do think Kalkbrenner's a smart pick for them. And at this spot, after we just debated heavy.
Yeah, I mean, they need
They need a center.
a center to grow with. I mean, they have Nick Richards and Plumlee maybe still.
They need center depth. We can't think about it as this guy's your starter.
Yeah, we'll take Ryan with this 29th pick.
Makes a lot of sense. He's a solid college player. Played 4 years.
I couldn't even tell you where Creighton is on the map.
Creighton's a school.
North Carolina or something? I don't know.
No, I think it's... Oh, crap, I forget.
30th pick, we got the Clippers.
Oh, boy. We have some solid names still on the board here.
I like Kobe Bray here.
What makes you think that a senior is getting picked 30th?
I think that he
After we
is
just took two seniors.
a solid wing floor spacer. He was one of the best shooters in college. I think that Harden would love someone like Kobe Bray.
He ain't getting minutes here.
To just chuck shots.
Yeah, but he ain't getting minutes.
That's my pick here is Kobe Bray.
If you're looking at the depth chart, where does he slide in?
He
When this
doesn't
is-
necessarily have to day one.
We have a clear need here, and we're ignoring it.
Free agency.
With what money?
Mid-level.
I do think it's going to be Thiero here. Executive decision.
What about Broom?
He ain't going first round.
Alright, take him then.
A lot of people do think this is the correct selection. All right, so you see our first round mock for today. We will not be doing a second round on this because we already did that. And one, it's kind of repetitive at this point. We'll go through again. Again, these are the obvious picks a lot of people think are top 3 in this draft. 4 is where it kind of starts for me.
I think it starts at 3.
You could say that too, though. These guys are kind of all bunched in 3 through 6. A lot of people and myself, I've heavily been thinking Malawak 7. Fears.
I have a take that Malawak will be picked in the top 6. I think he has that kind of upside to teams to want to pick trade up.
Okay, but you're looking at the 4 names ahead of him. I don't see them.
I don't really think Khan should be that high. That's my opinion, though.
I think he definitely deserved it. I think he showed in workouts, hence why he slid up.
I mean, it's
And Bailey
possible.
slid down. I do think he has a head on him, meaning that he has high IQ.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think Bailey has the IQ, to be honest with you, and that's where I see he's just another Jabari Smith Jr.
so we have the Nets taking Fears.
Makes a lot of sense.
We have the Raptors taking a center / power forward and Derek Queen.
Yep.
We
Carter
got-
Bryant, we went with the upside there. Although they have a need for a center, we do have them taking one later.
Colin Murray Boyles, you got a forward type hub. Can be like a Draymond Green type thing.
Again, you say that.
For Portland.
I don't know if he's a Draymond Green type. I do think he could bring some qualities.
I think he's a great defender, pretty solid playmaker. Can hit the occasional three, but it's not really his strength.
We got Yakachunas finally going at 12. Actually, a lot of people think around here for him as well. Illinois, Chicago kind of makes sense.
And right
Also,
across from him.
They do need some bench presence, so it kind of makes sense for them. Essengay going to the Hawks, giving them another bench wing. Also a project because they could afford to take some projects on. They did pick up Porzingis, so they don't really have to worry about Capella leaving.
Yeah.
So
You
you go
got
with the better project there.
a Spurs second pick. They're taking Igor Demin from BYU. Kind of a project, I would say. But
Not really.
he has some
Upside.
Yeah, upside, I would say.
We take him on size and upside. He does have great passing. He fits the Spurs archetype. That's why I was heavily thinking him for both drafts.
He is pretty big for a shooting guard, honestly. Like 6'9".
He's got ball handling skills.
I think
He pairs
was,
well with Wemby.
before the season, I want to say he was ranked in the top 10, but
Yeah. I think it's a good pick
I guess
for them.
he has some shooting issues.
Yeah. He has bad shooting numbers. That could be fixed, though, with some time and development. Spurs are great at that.
Pick
Nick Clifford, a bench threat for the Thunder. They don't really need much.
You got a guy who could slide in day one, does everything on the court.
The question is, him going down to a mid-major, is that going to showcase and translate well to the NBA? We shall see.
Yeah,
His numbers jumped going to a lesser
I think it
competition
gave
level.
him more opportunity to show what he could do. I think that, the talent drop off from leagues in the college is very slight, considering
Not
who
really.
you also have to play with. You're not playing with the top prospects either. You're kind of like there by yourself, playing with similar caliber players. So I don't really look too far into which school, as long as they
it
could.
should. Colorado State's matchups are not the same as a Duke's matchups. Duke's faces, they take on talent.
I know, but you also have talent.
Yeah, but now with the NIL, these teams are scheduling games outside of their conference against top teams because it's about money more now than it is about staying true to your conference. So I do think competition level matters, and the fact that he improved greatly under that is just a little bit of a fluke in my opinion. But again, the Thunder could take a risk like that.
So pick 16, you got Asa Newell going to Grizzlies. A lob threat for Ja. Pretty solid defender, energy guy.
Just the basic depth piece, and kind of gives you that guy that they traded away in Dylan Brooks, the toughness.
A bulldog of all bulldogs.
Georgia. Speaking of bulldogs, another type of dog, Hoya bulldog type.
What?
Sorber. Hoya's a
I
bulldog.
forgot that was the name.
We got a husky next.
Alright,
We
so we
got
got a
that-
bunch of dogs here.
We got some dogs picked up 16 through 18. They're all bigs. Well, McNeely's more of a wing.
We did kind of pick McNeely earlier than consensus, I would say, but I think that
Not by much, though.
I think that he's the kind of guy that gets overlooked because. Never mind.
Does he get overlooked?
Never mind. Not gonna say the reason, but we're picking him there.
Limb. Rasheer Fleming at 19 is kind of a bold risk. But
Isn't St. Joe's in New York? Or is
Philly.
That's a Philly college?
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Is this a pick the Nets could trade to the Sixers for third? Okay.
Possible.
I do think Fleming would make sense for a lot of teams at this spot.
At the point of the draft, I think it was a pretty solid pick, safe pick, with
You know who the guy is. He played 3 years of school.
yeah.
Same could be said with the guy who played 4 after him.
So Cedric Coward, he will not be a coward in Miami because you will have to be a dog, which
They're on the rebuilding path, as everyone seems to know now, that they traded away Butler. Coward is a nice little pickup there. He's got that Pat Riley type of attitude.
part of me thinks that they're trading this pick
I don't think so. I've seen
to get a
reports.
future couple picks.
No, reports are otherwise that they will be making this selection because they do need depth right now. And it's
You
a
just
cheap...
said they're rebuilding.
Yeah, that's a cheap one. They do have contracts like Hero. They do have Bam Adebayo already. They do want to build a nucleus along Ware as well.
Yeah. Pick 21, the Jazz select a Michigan Wolverine, Danny Wolf. He kind of fits the name Wolverine.
Yeah, Danny Wolf.
He's one of the wolves.
It's one of those types of animals again. I mean, a lot of them are names with animals.
Yeah, I mean, Jazz get another big man.
This guy's more of a depth piece to me.
He does look like he has that size to be a pretty solid center in this league eventually. He has the athleticism and muscle mass to like be a Rudy Gobert type, I would say.
Yeah, potentially, but moving on. Pick 22, we have Will Riley, a shooter going here.
I think this pick's getting traded. And I
It's
think
pretty... I mean, they just received this pick, though, but...
yeah, they don't really. The fact they have so many earlier picks, I think they're not really worried about this.
I think some of the other ones are traded. I think they will keep this one.
We'll see. But if they do keep this pick, they get a shooter that...
Which I still don't get how they got this pick.
You just saw it. Oh, wait. Oh, the trade.
I don't understand how that happened, but... Alright. I do think it could be either Jace or Will here, but... So then we have Jace going right after.
So the Pelicans get Jace. He was seen being a lot higher in past months, but
He has slipped a bit. He doesn't really project as like
I remember-
a true point guard, and he's not tall enough to be
I
a
remember
shooting
Mox
guard.
having him top 10 or top 13. Like, he felt,
Yeah, he has flashes and he can score the ball.
I think the biggest issue for owners that they have with, or not owners, GMs have, is that he's undersized and doesn't have a specific position.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I think that he needs to find a way either to become an elite shooter or creator, playmaker type. That's what he has to work on when he gets into the league. But he does have pretty good athletic finishing. He could get into the paint and like
His
score
dad
and
was one of the best.
dunkers.
Yes. It's
Yeah,
interesting. I mean, he's a little bit smaller than his dad, though.
yeah. I think he was 6'6" or something.
Yeah, he was a shooting guard, small forward, even back then.
But pick 24, OKC will take a French center, Joan. Is that how you say it? Joan
Berenger.
Joan Berenger.
I do think the Thunder have the team that doesn't really need to take a player who could play right now, so yeah, it's a safe pick for him.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's a good spot for him, too, at this
from
point.
what I've seen, he doesn't have the greatest offensive game. He is a very, very, very good defender. Weak side help, rear view contest, can guard 1 through 5. That's
Also,
why I wanted to pick him earlier, just because of his capabilities on defense. But he does have to grow his offensive game.
we do know the Thunder have a good amount of bigs, but there's always injury concerns with that team, so there's a chance he gets some time in the regular season at least.
Yep. Pick 25, we got Walter Clayton Jr. Did the senior even play in basketball?
Not the NBA. I would say Clayton for the Magic kind of gives them an opportunity to replace Cole Anthony.
Yeah.
Similar type player.
They both like to shoot.
Although Cole Anthony was more bouncier, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, they both like to shoot in clutch moments. I don't think Clayton will do that in his first couple years, but maybe.
I think Clayton was the results of a system rather than actual skills. Hence why he's not higher in this draft. I mean, he doesn't really translate a lot to the NBA, being a smaller shooting guard. It's not really a true point.
No. I mean, he is undersized like Jace is, which is why both of them are this late.
Although they were some of the best college players this year. That's my point here. That doesn't always translate well.
Pick 26, we're going with another French player, Nolan Traore. Not really small, but not really tall for a point guard either. He has pretty solid playmaking vision, makes some difficult passes, has a little bit of Jason Williams in his game with the way he passes, which is interesting. He is younger, right? Like, he has room to grow. Not the greatest shooter from what I've seen, but
I feel like there's a lot of not the greatest shooters in this.
yeah, I do see that now that I'm re-looking at it. But he can grow into that traditional point guard type.
Yeah, I mean, I see it. I picked 26. It's kind of cool to take him there. And same with Hugo. Another international Spanish type player. I don't know a ton on this guy, but I do know that he's projected on a lot of mock drafts, late lottery to late first, and most of it being late first. Maybe slides down into the second early, but I think there's a team that will take a risk and develop this guy, take him at this spot.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that pick. Even if they trade it, someone will take him. Pick 28, you got Boston.
These are three. So 28 through 30, I want to preface, these are teams that are probably keeping their picks. They're going to take a player that they're going to need. They could have someone that they could trust and rely on off the bench. They don't really want too much of a project. They want a known entity, these three teams, and that's why we'll take these guys. Let's get into it.
Yeah, so I don't know a whole lot about these last three, but I do know their team need, and it makes sense. I don't know if you have any intel on either of these guys, but
I mean, Kalkenbrenner I do know a bit about, but Reynaud, he's not really flashy, but it makes sense for the Celtics. They don't need flash right now. They need someone they could trust on off the bench at center. Losing Porzingis, they have Horford. Cornette is not really a guy you want to play a ton of minutes. You need a center there. It's the obvious pick for me. Same with the Suns. They need a center. They're targeting at 10. They will not get it at 10. They're going to take best available at 10 and take the center now. That's why Kalkenbrenner. It's the only reason really. Yeah, I mean, you can't really pass him up on 10. Kalkenbrenner makes the most sense here because he's the best center left there. And then the Arrow, I mean, gives you another guy off the bench, wing player. Woo Pig for the Clippers again. They tend to like those. Not too.
Yeah, so that is our first round official mock. We are not incorrect on any of these picks, so...
Alright, not too much. This is volume 2, so everyone does multiple mock drafts, especially the experts. This is our second attempt, a much more researched, in-depth, and practiced. I do know...
By no means we are experts in the lottery field and drafting field, but we have done our due diligence as far as players researching their game.
And searching up consensus mocks and all that. We did get some outside thoughts and kind of shifted our focuses a little bit and tried to focus more on drafting at the spot rather than team fits here.
Yeah, and recently with the trades, a lot of things shook up a little bit. Workouts being canceled, workouts doing well has shifted some things.
Sometimes it's smoke screens, but I don't think the Bailey thing's a smoke screen.
No, but that is our episode number 38, which we didn't give you any player names for the.
I really can't think of any, to be honest with you, and I don't want to cheat.
But that is our wrap up. Tune in to the draft tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern in Brooklyn. Should be an interesting one with some trades being mixed in.
And hopefully we do better than last year on this.
We'll see you at the draft.
Maybe.